In this first little mini unit, we're going to call it Unit 0 because it's really not part of the exponential algebra course. Last semester, this was Chapter 7, and we did a full chapter on it, but we're just going to do a few days and a few little assignments on the rules of exponents. So we're going to call this section 0.1, which seems kind of weird, but you don't have to write the objective there because we'll take care of that right here. I do need your name and I do need the date that you are watching this. So what we're going to do is, before we get into chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11 out of the book, we're going to just review some properties of exponents. So the question at the end of the hour is really just going to be, how do I multiply when I have a common or the same base? So let's talk about some base. Let's talk about a little vocabulary here first. When I write 2 to the 4th power, we call 2 the base, and we call 4 the exponent. Now, when you multiply and the bases are the same, so for example, if I had 2 to the 3rd times 2 to the 2nd, there's a couple things that might be tempting to look good, which is to say, oh, 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 2 is 6, and just do some stuff that looks good that's not mathematically correct. And the best thing to do to see what happens here is really just to write this out, because that exponent tells you how many 2's you have. So that means 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times. And this one means 2 times 2, just twice. And you'll notice when I'm done, I have 5 2's written out. And so you'll notice that when I go from my common base and I'm multiplying, really what ends up happening with these exponents is they don't get multiplied, they get added. And that works whether the base is a number or whether it's a variable. If I were just to do x to the 4th times x to the 3rd, I would have, and it's such a pain to write it out, but I would have 4 x's for x to the 4th, and x to the 3rd is x times x times x, and when I'm all done, you'll notice that I have 7 x's strung out there, and you'll notice the connection between the exponents. And then in my answer is that they get added. So we have a property that says that when you multiply and you have the same bases, you keep that base. Notice I didn't make this a 4, I kept it a 2. I keep that base and I add the exponents. So formally what it looks like is this. When we take any base to an exponent and multiply by the same base to an exponent, we keep that base and we add the exponents. So that's our property. I would like you to put that in a box, and I would like you to start. That's the first property of exponents that we're going to be working with, and we're just going to go do a few small examples over here. So first of all, you'll be asked to write your answer containing only positive exponents, and you'll be asked to write it as a single monomial, which basically means just one base and one power. So let's start off easily first. Example number 1. If I just had 4 times 4 to the 5th, and I said write that with a single base, or to simplify it, first of all, you should put on the little invisible 1 on that first 4, because you really do have one of them. And we'd say that's 4. I keep the base. I don't multiply those. It's a 4. If I were to write it out, I'd see a whole bunch of 4's, not any 16's. I'd say that's 4 to the 1 plus 5, which is 4 to the 6th. So notice I'm keeping that base and I'm adding those exponents. Example number 2. We're just going to do 2 or 3 and then that'll be it for this small little lesson. And again, we're just doing small notes. If I have a number out front, what we do is we take those, they're called coefficients, by the way. I think we should put that over on the side here. 6 and 5, numbers that are out front of algebraic expressions, are called coefficients. Kind of a weird word, isn't it? Anyway, when I consider this problem, multiplication can be done in any order. If I were to ask you what's 2 times 3, you'd say 6. If I were to say what's 3 times 2, you'd also say 6. So we're going to reorder this and put our coefficients out front. And then we'll put our variable bases next. And so what we do is we multiply these. 6 times 5 is 30. We don't make it an 11 now just because we've been saying we add. We add the exponents when the bases are the same. So 30 would be my number out front, or my coefficient, and I'd have x to that. 3 plus 4 is 7. Next one up. If I had number 3, let's go do another one. If I have a bunch of stuff written out, 3x y squared times, let's say, 2x y times one more, 4x to the fourth y to the third. Really, what you do is you think of dealing with all of these first. Really, you're going to do 3 times 2 times 4. And then we're going to go consider all the x's because they are the same base. And we're going to have x times x, this is x to the first, and another x to the first, times x to the fourth. Multiplication can be done in any order, so what I'm doing is both on my paper and in my brain I'm reordering these. I'd have y to the second from this one, and a y to the first from the next one, and a y to the third at the end. So you'll notice when I'm done, it's really not necessary to write all this out because I can just do the numbers out front first. 3 times 2 times 4 is 24. And then how many x's do I have in this problem? 1, 2, and then 4 more, which makes 6 of them. Or I could have just added them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For my y's, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those as well, and I'm done. So the summary for this, which for a while I'll be writing the summaries for you, after a while you'll be writing them, really what we do is to multiply, and basically, it's terms that have a common base. I'm not going to write that all out. But to multiply, we keep the base. So make sure you don't multiply those. So we keep the base, the common base, and we add the exponents. So once these notes are completed and you feel that you understand them, again, it's just so you get the process down, you bring them to me. I okay them. When I okay your notes, I'll then give you the worksheet. And so worksheet number 1 will be the first one that you do. When that worksheet's done, I'll correct it. If you have at least 70% right, I'll allow you to then go watch the second set of notes and we'll just continue on. You don't move along until the notes are done, and then you take the homework. Once the homework's done, you take the next section of notes. At the end, when you're done with everything, you take the test, and it's all on your own timetable. So if you never finish worksheet number 1, you'll never get number 2, you'll never take the test. It's all going to be self-paced. All right, so you have a great one, and show me these notes and get worksheet number 1 from me.